I'm saying, oh, it's okay that people do this, but at the same time, there's a process that we all have to move through to come into this empowering space. And when we take that step in deliberation, many of us do so because we have not been there for. So we understand and learn from the contrast. But I would say just, pause and call in your angels and guides and ask for direction and trust your intuition. There's times every client that comes to me, I don't really market traditionally. I share truthfully on Facebook. I'll share testimonials. In the community, people have a lot of respect and reverence for what I do, and they share that heartfelt. And so it just happens organically. There's not really anything I'm trying to make happen or get into the minds and like, how do I get the most clients, and how do I get all these wounded people to do what I think? It's nothing like that. But there is that energy on the planet. And so it's really important that we tune in and we trust our intuition because we're being guided. Like those who are here today, there's higher reasons, and our angels summon us exactly where we need to be at the exact time. And if we're paying attention and we're tuning in, then we're getting what we needed. If we're not, then it's okay. We just missed that opportunity. It'll come back around at another time.
Talk a little bit about, we were talking before we started this show, because you were talking about empowerment in that last little segment. Talk about empowerment and victim energy. I think that this is so important, and that, someone might not even realize that they have a lot of victim energy.
Yes. Well, a big part of this global shift that we're all moving through, and I think it's important for us to realize that we are all moving through this together, because so many clients that I see think they're going through this alone, like, oh, it's like the world's against them and they're struggling. But you're not. You're all going through it. I'm going through it with you. Julie's going through it with you. Every one of us, we're going through it, and we have to learn from these lower vibrational experiences. We have to learn from these aggressive beings that come and think they can take from us or control us. And those energies come in to awaken our liberation, our independence, our power. And so what I think one of the biggest struggles that humans have into stepping into their power is that they don't want to see that they're being victims. They don't want to admit that. It's kind of like an alcoholic not wanting to admit they have an alcohol problem. It's going to take quite a bit of time for them to actually heal when they're in denial. So when we're in a victim consciousness, we are always looking at the lack. We're always looking at there's not enough, I'm not getting my share, they're against me. There's this energy of blame where we're always blaming others for what they did wrong or how they should have done this better. You're making me feel this. Like, I can't even tell you how many times in my past, before I shifted and cleared a lot of these energies from my life, that I heard that projected at me, like, you're making me feel. And I would just be so confused, like, how am I making you feel anything? Like, I'm just myself and you're feeling your own emotion. But what it is that I learned is that we have to be accountable for our own emotions, our own energy. If I'm feeling frustrated today, it's not going to serve me to take it out on Julie and just be like, you know what? I'm really pissed off, Julie. Like, you didn't do that show the way I thought you should do it. I mean, I could do that, and my ego would really be taken over, and then she would most likely, it could easily trigger her ego, and then we both are operating from that misaligned energy. But if I feel frustration, I can go meditate, I can go for a walk and talk to my angels, talk to Source, thank them for bringing clarity to me to help me understand what is it that's frustrating me. And then Spirit will speak to us. It will say, well, you need to just be patient. Like, they're going to get it when they're ready. Like, this is not your responsibility. I'll hear that a lot. So I'm like, oh, okay, thank you. And so really, it's just us. I feel personally I have no right to take out my anger or any energy on another. But many that are operating from lower vibrational experiences and energy, they're still in that victim consciousness. They think that's normal. And so that's their normal. Their uncomfortably normal is to just project and psychically attack others. So it's really important that as we're clearing that from our own lives, that we have really healthy boundaries, that we really love ourselves. As you were saying, Julie, the person that was projecting on you, it's important that you don't take that personally, but that you really learn from it and realize, oh, this is an opportunity. There's something in my vibration that's ready to be cleared. Because anything that's happening to you in your external world is a reflection of your internal world. So if there's an attack coming at you, what internally is happening inside of you where you feel you're not good enough, you're not worthy, that you deserve to be attacked? There's some level of that going on. And so as we clear that energetically from our vibration, in a clearing, we shift our frequency so that we're, for example, if there's a woman that has been sexually assaulted or molested and she never healed that, and she doesn't realize it, but that energy still is being sent out like a beacon, a signal in vibration and frequency is being emitted from her. So until she clears that and realizes she is good enough, she's beautiful, she is enough, and that experience did not have anything to do with her, it had to do with another, until she can clear that, she'll continue to attract those energies to her life until she realizes, whoa, I'm done with this. Okay, learn the lesson, clearing it out, and then she goes higher in vibration. So as we go higher, our frequency raises. We no longer even are on the radar for those lower vibrational frequencies to come in as often because we're not emitting a signal. Does that make sense if we look at it vibrationally?
Absolutely. We've got a couple comments here I'd like to share from Kat in relation to that. She said mood and mindset from lower vibrations that we can take so personally to focusing on the light and beauty. And I think that's a really good thing.
Yes.
When we're in that moment, we're cranky, shift it. Whether it's listening to music that makes you want to rock out, whether it's taking the time to meditate, but doing something in that moment that can shift that. And I want to talk next. I want to remind everyone you can comment like Kat has, or you can call in at 919-518-9773 or Skype Computers 2K Voice. I want to read Kat's comment, and then Tanya, I want to talk a little bit about my healing that I did with you to give people kind of an example of the wonderful work you're doing. Kat says, Tanya has been a mentor for me for over 6 months during a tumultuous and transformative time in my life after leaving a 20-year abusive relationship. Finding Tanya and through her yoga, meditation, and soul talks, I've come leaps and bounds in finding truth, wisdom, worth, and higher consciousness and connection. I'm learning how to find strength in meditation and see how much we can shift out of our mood and mindset from lower vibrations that we can take so personally to focus on the light and beauty. Sorry about that, Kat. It got split up and I wasn't sure. But first of all, that's beautiful. And thank you, Kat, for sharing. And congratulations to you for turning your life around. That's pretty phenomenal. But that'll be a great lead-in to our thing. First of all, it's interesting. So you're out in Washington. I'm here in Raleigh. And so you said, okay, I want to do an auric cleaning, healing. And I was like, all right. And you're just like, go lie down. So the first thing I was like, all right. So the first thing I went to sleep immediately. But I want to tell at the beginning, and then I had highlighted because I took notes after when we talked afterwards. Talk about, so at some point Joey, who is our cat, came and lay down next to me in bed. So tell about what happened on your end with your cat.
Well, that same time, typically my cat doesn't really come in when I'm doing a clearing, and usually if I'm doing a remote clearing, I'm just sitting on my bed, doing it remotely, and my cat came and just laid down next to me and was all purring in my lap, and I was like, okay, guess he wants to join in on this. And so it was kind of funny when Julie was commenting that her cat had done the same. I was like, oh, it's like they were connecting vibrationally together. Like, hey, my buddy is over there in Raleigh. I'm going to go tune in. So it was kind of cute.
Yeah, so I like that. I'm laughing because he just came around the corner up here. When everything's high vibrating, he likes to come in.
Yes. So, animals love that. They love to be, when you're meditating or when you're doing an energy healing, my dog always wants to be in my healing room. Any of my clients know she wants to be there when we're doing yoga, when we're doing meditation. And it's because they feel energy. Animals completely operate from energy and they feel drawn to that. So they can feel that higher vibration and that calmness. And so are children. They're very naturally drawn to it. A lot of times I've been clearing like someone's home and the little child in the house will come find me and just be sitting right near me, watching me and telling me about spirits they see and things. It's really cool. So children and animals are, I feel like they're not blocked. And a lot of adults, that's what we're learning at this time, is to clear all that blockage that separates us from really beautiful experiences that are there happening, whether we're aware of them or not.
All right, outstanding. So I just thought that was really great about Joey and what happened. And so anyway, I remember zonking out. But what I find fascinating, I'm looking back at all the notes that I took. I literally felt the presence of what I would call an angel. I mean, you couldn't deny that. You had mentioned earlier that people were out like that, and it really was. There were, what I found fascinating, because I always take everything with a grain of salt, and even though I believe in tons of stuff, I'm still kind of have this prove it to me attitude. And there were things, the messages that you told me, there's no way you could have known. And how Tanya and I met was she watched another show and she was making all these awesome comments. I'm like, who are you? What do you do? I need to connect with you. So
that was so synchronistic, by the way. Like that day, I just got home, turned on my computer to look at Facebook. I see this show start, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh, whoa, this show starts in 5 minutes. And I was like, I really feel like I'm supposed to be on this. So my fiance's like, it's okay, I'll cook dinner. And that's how I met you. And I was just totally trusting my intuition of just like, I'm meant to tune into that.
Absolutely. So that's another great reminder. So one thing that I appreciate about this is, one, you gave me suggestions, or what I'd like to refer to as tools, and you just really, you can talk a little bit about the physical thing. Like I made notes that you were pulling out darkness from me, but you had messages, which, I mean, are really spot on. Like, take it easy. You need time to chill. I'm very driven at times, and I sometimes get out of whack that way. And you know that I was on the soul path. There are things that no one knew about, and I'll share one now. You had talked about buzzing in my ear, well, and about what that was related to. Well, I just thought that was tinnitus or whatever, and got a little homeopathy. But you were like, oh, you're getting some fine tuning. But no one knew about that. There's another thing which I'm not going to share publicly, that a dream I want to happen. But I was like, all right. So what I found valuable. And talk a little bit about what you do, what I would call physically or energetically, but then you give messages, and for me, you were like, you need a journal and you need to get out in nature. So something I try to do before every show is go hug a tree or spend time in nature to kind of center and ground me, because that's what I need. So talk a little bit more about that.
Well, basically, like I said, I'm just basically a secretary for spirit. I like to keep it very humble because they're doing a lot of this work, and I'm just kind of passing information back and forth. And I do know that I'm one with them and I'm assisting them, but really I don't make anything happen. And I think it's really important that a true healer, a true light worker is really in that humble space. They're not in there trying to perform or make magic like a magician, making tricks. And as soon as I sense that with others, it sends red flags for me to not really trust, because there's no need for it. So I think that it's important just to realize that what's meant to happen is going to happen. And that's what I've learned in my mentorships when I'm training the individuals who are feeling a guidance to step into their role as a light worker. That's really important thing that I share with them, is that you're not there in your ego. I don't control how much income I get in. I don't control how many people come see me. I just listen, and I can tell when there's a really high intense shift in energy. I can feel it in my body. And when I feel that wave come in, I'll be like, oh, here they come, and boom, I'll have all these clients contacting me. And it's because they're feeling that energetic shift, and now they're needing assistance. They're needing service and help as they learn to assimilate that energy. They learn to clear out the heavy, because the heavy is no longer serving them, and they're ready to go in a higher frequency. So that's basically all I do, is I just pay attention. I'm always an observer of life, really observing and listening. There's a movie called Robots. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a line in that movie where he just says, see a need, fill a need. And that's his whole mantra. And that's exactly the way I live. It's just, my mantra is, how may I serve? And I'm just always listening to how may I serve? What is the need? and then allowing source to channel that wisdom through. So in a clearing, physically, I may pick up on things that are going on with someone. Like, I know that I've had clients remotely that have had arthritis